Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Spark. The next couple videos that I have planned, I want to work with pockets and envelopes and inclusions and then do some pages using those because I like to have little secret things. I like to have an element of discovery, and I like to have kind of a sense of things that are concealed and things that can be revealed in a page. And I don't do this often. A lot of my journal pages are a bit more splashy and spontaneous if I just kind of want to sit down and have some mindfulness, some time with the materials, some time working with, images or text or whatever. But it's great to have the option to have some things tucked away, especially when I do a travel journal. Although we haven't been traveling as much lately, things are starting to happen again, and I find it very exciting to collect all the paper ephemera and have a page spread in a travel journal type way that is making memories and encapsulating some of the things. Piece of a coaster from a restaurant or part of a map or a brochure of a place that I visited. So sometimes those are torn up and collaged down, but other times you want to have a pocket to maybe put a ticket stub in or something. So I have 3 different kinds of pockets that I want to show you today. And then next week I want to show you a simple booklet, a simple pamphlet, because that's sometimes nice if you're doing a more visual spread to have a little piece of paper with some of your thoughts jotted down and then tuck that into a pocket. So kind of putting all this together with enclosures and possibilities and adding different layers of meaning into a journal page. So pockets and then small stitch pamphlets, and then some pages using those. So let me turn the camera around and we'll get started. I apologize in advance for the drone of the fan. It is a pretty warm summer day, and my old fan has kind of a grumpy, whirring sound to it. So I think that I'll probably be talking loud enough. That'll just be in the background. But again, like I said, sorry about that. So the first one that I want to do is a little pocket. It's hard to see on this paper since this paper has such a bold print, but there is a square here which becomes the tab that your envelope folds into. This I do think works really well with just a tiny piece of tape or glue stick to hold the pocket closed. Works much better that way. And it's a really simple origami fold that starts with a square of paper. So you start with the square, blank side up, turned on a diamond. Our first fold is corner to corner and creased. Okay. Keeping the paper in this folded position, our second fold is taking the point and folding it straight down to touch the bottom edge, which was our original fold. Now from here, we're taking one side and we're going about a third of the way in. I just tend to eyeball that. There's no fold to mark it. You will be folding part of this flap, so it's not like way out here. It's got to come over that. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And you see the envelope shape now, right? You see that classic crossover where the envelope is formed and the pointed flap. There's one last thing to do, and that's make that little diamond pocket. So I'm taking this pointed edge And I'm going to fold it back to the corner. And crease there. So I've created this tiny little triangle. And that tiny little triangle, when I press on it, it's going to pop open. I'm going to center that and line that up, and then crease it. Let me show you that again. I took the point to the outside corner, and then I stood it up. I pressed on it and folded it down, centered, to create this little pocket. So this is where a tiny dot of glue stick doesn't hurt anything. I think it makes it a lot more secure, a lot easier to use. You could use a little piece of washi tape doubled up on itself. And then your envelope closure tucks right in there. And I can see, doing something fun like putting a different square of paper on the closure, just to give it some contrast. Right? My square was a little bit too big, it's sticking off the bottom. But a little variety, a little contrast there. All right, let me set those to aside. The next kind is new to me, and I'm not as good at the folds. So this forms an actual, more like an envelope style, rectangular. Okay, that's an envelope too, but it's square. So this is a bit more traditional in this rectangular format. So let's see if I can do this one. I'm going to switch to this paper because this white is going to be a little easier for you guys to see on my desktop, on my brown paper surface. Okay, again, we start with a square. And I'm going to line up a fold here in the middle and just notch the corners. So that was in half, bottom to top. Now I'm taking the bottom edge, I'm going to line it up with that midway fold that I made and notch the corners again. So you can see the creases here. I've got midway and a quarter. All right, I'm going to take the bottom edge and fold up to my quarter line and crease it. Okay, we're good there. Okay, ignore the folds in that paper. I thought the camera was going and it was not. All right, so here on this bottom, I have my little fold. And I'm going to take that folded edge and bring it up to the marks I'd made that marked the midway point, that first original notch that I made. Now, having done that, there's another little fold, that second fold that I folded and notched. I've marked it in red because it's hard to see on this paper, but there was a little crease there just marking out that spot. That spot is where I want to fold my top edge down for the size of the envelope flap. Okay. Now, to make the actual envelope, I'm taking this outside corner and I'm going to fold it up to meet the top edge of where you can see the front of the paper, right? So the outside corner folding that corner up. I'm then going to, right along this edge right here, fold the entire side in. You can start to see the envelope really forming now. All right, for this next move, I am going to rotate the envelope around and fold both of my corners in to make my pointed flap. Once that's done, fold it down to create the flap itself. Now I'm turning it back around so it's going envelope ways. This envelope doesn't hold very much because of the way the fold is. So to put things in it, you would be unfolding it quite a bit. Let's find a scrap of paper. So things would go in, and basically your envelope would be refolded around it. So it still works. It's just that you have to open a lot to get into the envelope. Right. So it's up to you based on how you might be using it, if you like that function. If we look back at our first one with this little diamond fold there, things tuck right into the back. It's open in the front, so you saw me first slide it in and it came right back out. So if you really want things contained in the pocket, make sure you're way in the back. Obviously this doesn't fit, but okay. Now, all the origami aside, those are great. They're wonderful with decorative paper, but my favorite kind is, I think, simpler and more versatile. And it is this open pocket, which I kind of like better than an envelope. I mean, if I'm doing a journal page and have a tab or a photograph or a ticket stub, I kind of don't want it hidden away. I want to be able to pull it out and see it, or see what I wrote on the back, but I like it being part of the page. So this pocket is extremely easy to do. Now, you'll see some notes here on my paper that the dimensions for this, we're not starting with a square. We're starting with a long, skinny piece of 4:1 ratio. This was actually a piece of cardstock, and I had it down behind my journal pages. You can see the overspray here. You can see some extra stamping. And so this was a 12 by 12 sheet. And I thought this would be lovely to fold up into pockets because it had some nice splatter and color and interest to it. Now, as I said, it's a 4:1 ratio. I knew my cardstock was 12 inches long. 4:1 ratio. Boom. So dividing it up into 3-inch strips gives me 4 pockets, 1 page. Now the first fold that you're going to do on this is folding it in half. So I have folded and creased that, and I am using a bone folder because it's cardstock, but you could use the back of a spoon. And I've only marked this just for making it a little easier for you to see on the video. Okay. Next thing I'm doing is bringing my right edge into the fold. It's maybe just a skosh shy because you can see that red line. Okay, great. I'm going to bring my left side all the way over on my original center fold and then fold it back on itself, lined up right there. So if you are familiar with any book arts, we have a mountain fold, a valley fold, and a valley fold across our 12 inches. Now, to start angles for the pocket, on my right side, taking the top corner, and I am folding it down And it is just a tiny bit shy of that fold. That's why you're seeing a little strip of white here, because I'm more concerned with this still being able to fold. Okay. On the other side, I'm going to be folding here. So I'm taking my mountain fold and I'm bringing it down to the bottom center. Okay. So there are my two angled folds. Great. To fold up the pocket, I'm going to fold there. I'm going to tuck that guy up and then fold them in. So this gives you the inside back of the pocket and the first part of the pocket itself. This fold comes over and just tucks inside. That is it. I love these guys. So let's do one more. Let me just fold this and not talk. I just want to see how it looks done. Yeah, I love those. Those are just so cool. All right, so hopefully that gives you some ideas. I definitely have my favorites, I'll be honest. But the slightly deconstructed rectangular envelope, cute little square guy where you can definitely decorate the front closure pocket. And my favorite, the real simple pocket folded from a long strip. Awesome. So hopefully that'll spark some ideas for you to just, maybe play around with some of the scrap paper that you have. I mean, come on. Some people would have thought that was trash. And think about adding some enclosures or some different embellishments into your page. And stay tuned next week for a simple kind of pamphlet stitch that we could maybe even fit into one of these pockets. All right, see you soon.